Have you ever wondered why, in your loudest moments, you still feel empty? It's because the truth of who you are doesn't scream, it waits in silence. When the body grows quiet, the soul begins to awaken. And in that awakening lies the wisdom, the clarity, and the transformation you've been searching for. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover could change the way you see yourself forever. Silence is often misunderstood as emptiness, a void that needs to be filled with sound, distraction, or constant motion. Yet silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of everything that truly matters. When the body grows quiet and the outer noise fades, we encounter a space where the deepest truths about ourselves begin to surface. This silence is not forced or artificial. It is a natural state that exists beneath the turbulence of our restless minds and the demands of our physical existence. It is a doorway to clarity where we begin to see that much of what we chase in the external world is a reflection of what we have ignored within. In silence, the masks fall away, and what remains is the essence of who we are. The truth revealed in silence is not always comfortable. At first, it may bring us face to face with things we have long buried, fears we did not want to acknowledge, emotions we have suppressed, and wounds we tried to cover with endless activity. The body, when in motion, distracts us from these inner truths. We run, we consume, we talk, we fill our days with tasks, believing that noise will protect us from ourselves. But the moment we pause, the inner voice we tried to silence begins to whisper. This is the moment where honesty is born, where the illusions we clung to no longer hold power. Silence does not create truth, it only uncovers it. The truth was always there, waiting for us to stop long enough to hear it. This unveiling is not a single event, but a process. Each moment of stillness deepens our awareness. The first layer may reveal our pain, the second our longing, and the third our purpose. In silence, we begin to distinguish between the shallow desires of the body and the timeless yearnings of the soul. We discover that many of our struggles come not from the world outside, but from the conflicts we carry within. Silence acts like a mirror, reflecting back to us the patterns we could not see while distracted. It shows us the lies we told ourselves, but also the potential we denied. In that quiet space, we also begin to recognize the presence of something greater than ourselves. Some may call it intuition, others wisdom, or even the voice of the divine. Whatever name we give it, silence allows us to experience it directly. Unlike the noisy chatter of the mind, this voice does not argue or demand, it simply guides. It brings a sense of peace that cannot be explained, only felt. It assures us that we are more than our fears, more than our failures, more than the temporary roles we play. Silence reveals inner truth not to overwhelm us, but to free us. By listening, we begin to live with greater authenticity. We stop running from ourselves and instead embrace the wholeness of who we are. And in that embrace, we awaken to the simple yet profound realization that the answers we have always searched for were never outside. They were within us, waiting in the silence. The body is a remarkable vessel, yet it is bound by time. From the moment we take our first breath, the body begins its journey through change, growth, and eventual decline. It carries us through life, allowing us to experience the physical world, to feel, to touch, to see, to taste, and to move. But no matter how strong or beautiful the body may be, it cannot escape the reality of impermanence. Age bends it, illness weakens it, and time ultimately claims it. This truth is often difficult to accept, for we identify so strongly with our physical form. We cling to appearances, we measure our worth through youth and strength, forgetting that what we truly are does not fade with time. The body is temporary, but within it dwells something eternal, something untouched by decay, the soul. The soul is the essence that animates the body, the unseen force that gives life meaning and depth. Unlike the body, it is not limited by years or circumstance. The soul holds our memories, our wisdom, our love, and our connection to all that is beyond the physical. When the body changes, the soul remains. When the body weakens, the soul often grows stronger. When the body reaches its final breath, the soul continues its journey. To recognize this truth is to free ourselves from the fear that comes with change and loss. It is to understand that while the body is a temporary home, the soul is the traveler, timeless and unbroken. This realization shifts how we live. If we believe we are only bodies, then we spend our days chasing external validation, clinging to material possessions, and fearing the inevitable decline of our strength. But if we recognize the soul as our true identity, our perspective deepens. We begin to live not for appearances, but for meaning. We invest in experiences, relationships, and wisdom, knowing these are the treasures the soul carries forward. We treat the body with care, not because it defines us, but because it is the sacred vessel through which the soul expresses itself in this life. The temporariness of the body teaches us humility. It reminds us that no matter our power, beauty, or achievements, time will touch us all. But the timelessness of the soul teaches us hope. It reminds us that we are more than what we see in the mirror, more than what others perceive, more than the limitations of flesh. This dual truth, that the body is temporary and the soul eternal, brings balance. It grounds us in the present moment, urging us to care for the body, but it also lifts us beyond fear, showing us that death is not an end, but a passage. To live with this awareness is to live with freedom. We no longer fear the loss of youth, nor the closing of chapters, for we understand that the essence of who we are cannot be lost. The body will fade, but the soul will carry on, ever learning, ever evolving, ever timeless. Awakening does not come through chaos, nor does it arrive in the endless noise of distraction. It emerges in the quiet, in the spaces where the world softens and the mind no longer races to keep up with everything around it. Stillness is not simply the absence of movement. It is the conscious choice to pause, to step out of the constant motion of life and allow the deeper layers of existence to reveal themselves. In stillness, we are no longer pushed by the rush of the external world, nor pulled by the demands of endless desire. Instead, we enter a place where awareness sharpens, where we can hear the subtle language of the soul and touch the truths that remain hidden in the noise of daily living. When the body is still, the mind resists. Restlessness arises, thoughts grow louder, and discomfort surfaces. This is the mind's attempt to keep us distracted, for stillness threatens the illusions we hold onto. Yet if we endure those first waves of unease, something profound happens. The turbulence fades, and a deeper calm begins to emerge. It is within that calm where awakening takes place. We begin to realize that we are not the endless stream of thoughts, not the emotions that come and go, but the silent witness observing it all. In this recognition, we awaken to our true nature, a presence that exists beyond the fleeting conditions of the body and the mind. Stillness allows us to see clearly what was once blurred. It is like a pond whose surface has been disturbed by wind. As soon as the air grows quiet, the water settles, and the reflection of the sky appears. In the same way, when the mind grows still, our inner world reflects truth without distortion. We see the patterns we were trapped in, the fears that held us back, and the false identities we clung to. Awakening is not about gaining something new, but uncovering what was always there, hidden beneath the noise. It is in stillness that we also connect to something greater than ourselves. Whether one calls it wisdom, intuition, or the eternal, it becomes accessible only when we step out of the storm of distractions. The voice of truth does not scream, it whispers, and only in stillness can it be heard. This is why awakening is not dramatic, but subtle. It does not strike with thunder. It emerges like dawn, slowly illuminating everything it touches until clarity is undeniable. To awaken in stillness is to come home to the present moment. It is to recognize that the peace we seek is not in the future, not in the next achievement, not in the next possession, but here, in the quiet presence of now. This awakening is not reserved for a few. It is available to anyone willing to stop, to listen, to be. And in this stillness, the truth of who we are rises gently, reminding us that awakening is not somewhere we must go, but something we uncover when we finally allow ourselves to be still. The soul does not compete with the world's noise, nor does it demand attention through grand gestures. It speaks in whispers, soft and subtle, waiting for us to quiet ourselves enough to listen. This is why so many people miss its guidance. The volume of life drowns it out. The constant flood of information, the pull of responsibilities, the distractions we willingly embrace, All of it creates a storm of noise that leaves no room for the delicate voice within. Yet the soul has no need to shout, because it carries a truth so profound that even the faintest whisper of it can change the entire course of a life. The whispers of the soul often come to us in moments of stillness, when the body is at rest and the mind softens its grip on endless thought. They may arrive as intuition, a gentle nudge steering us in a certain direction, or as a quiet knowing that something is right or wrong long before logic confirms it. They may come as a sudden clarity in the middle of silence, or as a subtle ache reminding us that we are not living in alignment with who we truly are. The soul does not overwhelm us with force. It invites us to trust, to listen, to follow its quiet rhythm. Those who learn to recognize its voice discover a guidance far more reliable than the shifting noise of the outer world. Listening to the whispers of the soul requires patience, because they rarely align with the urgency of modern life. The world pushes us to act quickly, to decide instantly, to keep moving without pause. But the soul does not rush. Its whispers may ask us to wait, to let go, or to move in directions that defy logic but feel undeniably true. These whispers are often inconvenient to the ego, for they call us not toward what is comfortable, but toward what is authentic. They do not promise the easiest path, but they always lead to the path that honors the essence of who we are. There is a reason the soul speaks in whispers. It is an invitation to intimacy. It asks us to draw closer, to lean in, to give it our full attention. Just as we cannot hear a soft voice in a crowded room without silencing the noise around us, we cannot hear the soul unless we create space for it. This is why solitude, reflection, and moments of silence are essential. They are not luxuries, but necessities if we wish to live in harmony with the deepest part of ourselves. When we ignore the whispers, life has a way of growing louder. The misalignment between body and soul creates restlessness, dissatisfaction, and confusion. But when we listen, we find a sense of peace that cannot be explained in words. The soul's whispers do not merely guide us toward decisions, they remind us of who we are, beyond the roles, beyond the masks, beyond the noise. In honoring these whispers, we live not by chance, but by truth. And it is in this quiet alignment that the soul finally finds its voice, not in shouts, but in the still, unwavering certainty of its whispers. Restlessness is one of the greatest barriers to awareness, yet it often goes unnoticed because it disguises itself as normal life. We live in a culture that glorifies movement, speed, and constant engagement. To sit in silence even for a few minutes feels uncomfortable, almost unbearable, as if something is missing. This restlessness is not just physical, it seeps into the mind, filling it with endless thoughts, worries, and distractions. It is the urge to check the next message, the desire to move on to the next task, the inability to simply be with oneself. And yet, beneath this restlessness lies the awareness we seek, the clarity we crave, the wisdom we long for. It is always present, but restlessness keeps us from seeing it. When we are restless, the mind is like turbulent water. No matter how hard we try to look beneath the surface, the ripples distort everything. We mistake the ripples for reality itself, never realizing that stillness would allow the water to clear, revealing what was always hidden below. In the same way, restlessness blinds us to the truth of who we are and the deeper dimensions of life. We think that awareness is absent, but in truth, it is only concealed by the storm of our constant agitation. If we could learn to let the restlessness settle, even for a brief moment, the clarity of awareness would shine through effortlessly. Restlessness often arises from fear, the fear of what we might discover in stillness. When the distractions are stripped away, we are left face to face with ourselves, with the thoughts and emotions we have long avoided. This is why so many of us keep running, filling every gap with noise and motion. But the more we resist, the stronger restlessness becomes. It feeds on avoidance, growing louder every time we deny ourselves the chance to pause. Awareness, however, cannot be forced. It requires openness. The paradox is that the very thing we avoid, the stillness behind restlessness, is the doorway to freedom. To move beyond restlessness, one does not fight it, but notices it. To simply observe the agitation without judgment is to weaken its grip. Restlessness loses power when it is seen for what it is, a temporary state, not a permanent truth. In watching it, we begin to realize that we are not the restlessness itself, but the awareness observing it. This shift is subtle but profound, for it transforms the relationship we have with our own mind. The moment restlessness begins to fade, awareness naturally emerges. We do not have to create it or chase it. It has been there all along, waiting beneath the noise. And in this awareness lies a sense of peace that restlessness can never offer. It is not the peace of escape, but the peace of presence, the deep knowing that everything we seek has been here within us the entire time. Restlessness blocks awareness only until we learn to sit with it, to let it pass, and to discover the stillness that has been patiently waiting beneath the surface of our own being. Silence has always been misunderstood as emptiness, as if it were a void where nothing exists. Yet in truth, silence is not absence. It is presence in its purest form. It is the space where transformation begins, the threshold between who we think we are and who we are meant to become. When we step into silence, we are stripped of distractions, stripped of the constant noise that keeps us tied to old identities, old wounds, and old patterns. Silence creates room for us to see ourselves clearly, and in that clarity, change takes root. Transformation is rarely loud or dramatic. It does not arrive with fanfare or sudden revelation. Instead, it grows quietly, often unnoticed, in the soil of stillness. When we allow silence to surround us, we begin to hear the truths we have ignored, the feelings we have buried, and the longings we have silenced. These hidden parts of ourselves come forward not to harm us, but to heal us. The silence gives them space to speak, and by listening, we begin to understand the steps we must take to evolve. In this way, silence becomes a mirror, reflecting both the shadows we must face and the light that guides us forward. It is in silence that the ego loosens its grip. The endless chatter of the mind, with its fears, comparisons, and judgments, begins to fade. What remains is a deeper awareness, a sense of connection to something larger than ourselves. This awareness does not come from effort or striving, but from surrender. In surrendering to silence, we discover that transformation is not about becoming something new, but about uncovering what has always been within us. The layers of conditioning, fear, and doubt fall away, revealing the soul in its fullness. Silence is powerful because it slows us down enough to notice the subtleties of life. It teaches us patience, presence, and acceptance. In silence, we stop grasping for the next moment and begin to experience the richness of the one we are in. This shift changes how we see the world and how we see ourselves. Transformation begins here, in the realization that the life we seek is not out there waiting to be found, but in here waiting to be recognized. Those who avoid silence often remain trapped in cycles of repetition, chasing the same distractions, running from the same truths, and wondering why nothing changes. But those who embrace silence open the doorway to transformation. They allow themselves to be broken open, to let go of what no longer serves them, and to step into a deeper alignment with their true essence. Silence does not demand perfection. It asks only for presence. And in that presence, we are transformed, not by force, but by the quiet power of truth revealing itself. Silence is not the end of the journey, it is the gateway. It leads us inward, where real change takes place, where the old self dissolves and the timeless self awakens. To enter silence is to step into the most profound kind of transformation, the kind that reshapes not only how we live, but who we are.